to work. Today I want to do as short as I can video on some fundamentals of precision shooting. And this, in this situation, is listen, it's using my equipment, but it's relevant to all forms of fundamental or all forms of precision and long range shooting, and really about getting better first or cold bore first round impacts, to just better grouping, that side of things. This is done using the equipment that I tend to use, but it's relevant to all forms of this type of shooting is the stuff I want to bring forward. In the basics, with this rifle is all listed below, all the components that go with it, so I won't go too much into other than explaining the little bits that I use to make sense of this sort of stuff. One is my bipod system, mounted on a spigot, around, doesn't touch the barrel, so attached to the fore end, but long bipod legs with extensions, all stuff that we sell in our store, but it's to create this straight forward and back movement. Super, super important, that very straightforward and back action of the rifle. Things like muzzle brakes and quality barrels and good chassis and all that sort of stuff are very relevant, but that straightforward and back movement is very relevant. The other thing I perform that with is a packed, or basically a bag in the rear here running on a bagrider. And I do it, the really important thing and a fundamental to this is that the bag stays packed, and I do that with this adjustable bag base that we do. So whether it's adjustable bag rider or adjustable bag base, something that can actually be packed. Not got spring in it, not held up with air or by your hand clenching, your gripping, all that sort of stuff, but in actual fact it is packed, it stays there all the time. That is where it's going to stay. So I'll get more into that, but those things there are the basics. For the way I set it up, high tall scope, a high butt rest, butt pad I should say, basically probably a little bit lower in the way of cheek riser. These are all things, so my head and neck position are in the right place. I tend to run also on an A-frame. I don't put my chest on the ground, keep my chest off the ground. I set up the rifle so it pushes straight from your collarbone down to basically inside my right leg, so largely straight behind the rifle. The collarbone and it sits up around here, so I get a straight line of push from the rifle, so I get that flat action as well. So those are the basics of things that I talk about there. Good scope, good chassis, 1 pound trigger, all these things really help with the process, but the fundamentals I want to get into, and I suppose I want to show it in a video. I took it out as a good excuse to go out and take this thing for a shoot. Remington, it's the 7mm Remington Ultra Mag. Very efficient bullet with 195 grain bullet traveling at the 3200 or 3250 feet per second, so very efficient that side of things. And I've got good data attached to it. So obviously you need to measure your target accurately in some form or other, laser rangefinder, GPS app, whatever it is, measure it properly so you've got that to know exactly the distance to target. Your good data so you can dial into it. And then I suppose the process starts, the fundamentals of what we're talking about starts. You also need to have good weather readings, that sort of thing. You can see your wind, all that sort of stuff. The process at that place starts with getting the rifle set up, pointed at target, dialed in, so you dialed in the information of what your data is, so at that point there, get down behind your rifle, and then make sure I adjust it on, I get it basically on, make sure it's all going to stay there with a straight line of push, and then go through and once it's on target, then I go through and pack it down properly. So I actually push down to get a packed bag. I do that with I push it down and I can adjust it up, making it adjustable in whatever form you're doing, whether you're packing the bag and adjusting the front or you're adjusting your bag rider, wherever it is, get that bag so it's packed so that you're basically, you've got the same tension. It's not going to be packing as you're shooting, so your 10th shot is then very different to your first shot. You want to start in the format the rifle was zeroed, which is not going to be the first shot. It's going to start in the form where you've done your group shooting or whatever it is, it's already packed down, it's in that place. So then your data is lined up to how your rifle was running. So the pack bag really works on that sort of level. Then I make those adjustments, make sure it's straight on a target, make sure everything's working in the way you push backwards and forwards, it's staying on target, that's all nice on that type of thing. The next really important thing I do is go through and set the parallax properly. Now, parallax, as mentioned many times before, but the parallax, your side focus knob, as some people want to call it, it is, or the front one, wherever it is, it's not a focus knob, it's parallax. So you get it on, you make sure that when you focus it, so get it nice and clear, you move your eye around behind. If the reticle moves on the target, when you're not moving the rifle and you're moving your eye around, the reticle moves, then you adjust it to where the reticle doesn't move. If it's slightly out of focus when the reticle stops moving, it means your diopter isn't focused properly. But truthfully, as long as this doesn't move, your crosshairs don't move, that's where your accuracy is going to come from. So it's the most important thing. If you're just doing a shoot, you want to focus your diopter later on, then do that. But making sure that doesn't move. Very important for the shot-to-shot consistency. So then you carry on and do those things. Then you're reading wind. It's a super important thing, and I'll carry on with this shoot. You see what we did in the first shot there. That was, listen, not bad. It was half an MOA high. So that probably, listen, the data we'd just been shooting was going to be very, very close. Probably the wind direction was probably a little bit from our 6 o'clock. There was a little bit of push that way, which we weren't reading. So down half an MOA and then hold. I don't know how consistent the side-to-side wind's going to be, so then I made a hold correction. Hold the right side of plate. That's what the next shot looked like. So right on target. I'd take there's a little bit of luck to be that accurate on a 12-inch plate at 1,250 yards, but that still worked really well. To show there's a little bit of luck there, this is the next shot. Same pressure, same thing.
Beautiful.
Okay, and just off to the side there. So not the same, use the same hold, got that result there. So the next shot would be holding a little bit to the other side and maybe even be back off the plate. 12-inch at that distance. With wind, it's just changing around a little bit. It's not uncommon, but I suppose I just wanted to go through the basics of that. All your rifle setup and how you do those things are super, super relevant without any question. The quality of your gear, really nice chassis like this, the scope, all those bits, nice barrels, nice muzzle brakes, all that stuff, super matter. But things that matter, no matter how good the gear is, you actually having a pack bag so that it's not moving shot to shot really does help. The likes of the squeeze bag side of things a lot of guys use, the likes of where it is movable, the squeeze bag side of things, yes, you can do it, but it isn't as consistent and it is a lot harder work to shoot a really good group in that situation. You're good at it, great, it works. Some people struggle, whether it's hand strength or it's just the position you're trying to get to, really does help to have a pack bag on some format. So some adjustability somewhere that can keep your bag packed is definitely a place where some accuracy is hiding. But the key, the parallax thing, way too often people just go with the focused, it's nice and focused, and don't do that eye movement around, the eyeball move around behind the diopter or behind the reticle. That reticle staying consistent is so much to this game. Yes, if you have exactly the right cheek weld, your head's exactly in the same place all the time, you can sort of answer it, but ultimately it doesn't answer it as well as getting that your scope parallax correctly. It super matters. In some cases, in some scopes, you'll find shot to shot, it'll actually vary, and actually checking in between. Your group's going weird, check your parallax again, because in some scopes it will have moved. So listen, that's that one there. I didn't want to go too much further into it. It's a bit of a top up for those people who get used to doing this. It always works and then it's not working properly. And wait a minute, let's come back to one of those fundamentals is missing. And for the people who are watching this sort of stuff and not seeing it's not being shown, or they're not picking up what's going on, yep, a pack bag and parallax along with everything else, but those two are a couple of fundamentals that are really worthwhile keeping at the forefront of every time you go out and rest your finger on that trigger. Anyway guys, thanks for checking in, and catch you next time.